My eyes, even in times, brain eyes, sometimes brand new shit, some say, it's rock, so I'm so just into this awesome. Hey, 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 what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Ain't That Right? I'm your host, Doug Dad. We are live here on a Thursday, a chilly Thursday in the Northeast. We turn down the temperature, turn up the heat inside to keep ourselves all cozy and warm as we progress into the fall. Now, pretty soon on the horizon, it's winter, winter, winter. Favorite time of the year for me. I really enjoy this. There's a point where I enjoyed like springtime, early baseball, but always have this little place in my heart for the fall. I love the fall foliage. I love being in the mountains. I love the crunch of the leaves. I like that first bit of cool air and the snow that comes down. It just sort of sets the tone for the winter. And hoping, fingers crossed, that I actually get a reasonable semblance of a winter this year. I know a lot of times now we get these little dustings and 2 minutes later it's gone, but hopefully it hangs around a little bit. And speaking of things that hang around, I was thinking in relation to the elections that were on Tuesday, and of course, everything that you see when you go on your social media, everything you see when you flip on the television, hear on the radio, just trends, like trends in general, right? Uh, Tons of words for trends. Uh, the in thing, hot thing, a fad, whatever it is. But basically, trends are just like the general direction that people or places are going. It's developing, it changes, it gains popularity, it's up, it's down. 1 minute it's there for 5 minutes, next minute's there for 15 minutes. Sometimes it goes on for years, right? There's a big crypto trend that's going on right now. Whether it stays and sustains itself, we don't know. But we'll find that out as we progress through these trends. It's behaviors, it's style, public opinion, right? For a while there, think like post World War II, everyone was so patriotic, nervous, up in arms, and greatest thing since sliced bread, and then you move into like the Vietnam era, and it's like, oh, hold on a second, maybe we need to rethink some ways that we approach stuff. Then you get into the Cold War, right? And then you get into everything after Afghanistan, 9/11, etc. So like these trends and these little fluctuations in ourselves, be it social, be it cultural, this is a preference that becomes popular at a specific time, but does it hold true? Does it maintain itself or does it fade off? Right? Like for a while there during the 80s, like it was like all the neon colors. Then it was the denim jackets, then it was the leather jackets. How much of it holds true? How much of it fades away? Statistically, how can we quantify these quote unquote trends? You got trends in your life, right? Like, what is this consistent pattern that you align with over time that keeps you in a specific area? Right? And technology is constantly evolving. There's constant trends in technology, right? Remember coming up and it was like the Sony Walkman. Oh my God, everybody had to have a Walkman, right? And then after that was everybody had a CD player, had to have a portable CD player. And then we had to go to the cars and we had to get the faceplates that came off in the cars. And then there was the MP3 things. Then there was downloads. Now it's aux cables. Now it's streaming services. Staying ahead of these trends, staying ahead of this rapid development of what exists. And how we manage that, how we mitigate it, how we work that into our lives really shape some of our decisions, right? Shapes, who we are. So they're important because the trend is sort of like this collective belief, this collective behavior, right? It's something that in many places, like it drives the culture, it drives innovation. You have everybody getting on board now to uh, electric vehicles. Right, yeah, let's get on board. Let's figure this out. Prior to that, I was like, oh, well, let's get out of the horse and buggy. Let's get on to the steam engine. So, steam engine. Let's get to the combustion engine. Why do trends matter, and why and when do they typically pass? When do they run their course with us? Because we all have individuals and we all have people in our lives, ourselves included, that we align ourselves with a particular entity, a particular trend, a particular movement, and it does one of two things, right? It runs its course, you become so assimilated into it that you yourself don't necessarily become the trend, but you take it on as part of your identity, right? So culturally, trends will tell us what people value. or what the opinion of what people value is, what people enjoy, perhaps what they fear. It's sort of like I I guess it's like a selfie snapshot of like the current mood that exists right now. Huge trend in the 80s, right? Cabbage Patch Kids. What did that speak to? It spoke to this coming back to this little value of a family and motherhood and dolls and taking care of, and a little more like a traditional tweak on things. It it drives industry. It drives economies, right? New products come out of this. You think of all the things that you see on your TikTok, your YouTube, your Instagram, your threads. For a while there, it's amazing what kind of things actually get traction. And you're like, how in the hell is someone on board with this? How do we not know how to use a can opener? How do we not know what a paper clip is for? But yet, cyclical being, we remember things, we forget things, they come, they go. And these new creative formats, these new creative ways to introduce items, people, places, and things, ideas, etc., they catch us and they catch our attention. And if you strike when that iron is hot, you can make a living out of this. You can make a life out of this. You can make a career out of this. So we're always trying to stay ahead of the curve and ahead of the trend. And a lot of times when we buck the system or we go opposite, right? Jared Jones, everyone's going this way, I'm going that way. You probably catch a little bit of success, but you've got to get past the novelty and you've got to keep plugging along and plugging along and plugging along. And hopefully you have enough resources and you have enough depth that eventually something clicks. Huge trend. Streaming services, streaming service, streaming service. Right now you have a big debate between, the mothership and the House of Mouse and YouTube and everybody coming together about what they're going to broadcast, what they're not going to broadcast, what they want to spend, what they don't want to spend. And the big trend was what? Cut the cord, cut the cord, cut the cord, cut the cord. So everybody and their brother, oh, cut the cord, we don't need cable. Cut the cord, we don't need cable. And now you come to find out that you need a provider at a very base level in order to get into some of these other subscription services. If not, you pay a la carte for all of these services. Oh, well, that's a great trend because I can tailor it to exactly what I want. It's like going to the cafeteria and, today I only want to eat the meatloaf. I don't want to eat the lima beans. Okay. But now I'm telling you, well, you've got to buy everything. In order to get to the meatloaf, you got to buy the lima beans. Well, I don't want to do that. Well, that's where we are. Well, I don't like that trend. I want to go back to where we were. Well, we really can't go back to where we were. Well, why? Well, I'm going to go back to my cable company, or my old product is going to say, there you go, you can have it. But oh, by the way, now you need the premium service that we offer, not just our basic level. Oh, sure, we'll let you stream, but you need to add on. So sometimes trends are good, sometimes trends are bad. Sometimes we get the benefit from them in the instant, but long term, do they actually hold true, right? They signal this viral moment, right? Everything's going viral, it's going viral. Oh my God, gotta keep up with it. Everybody right now is, the heck with Thanksgiving, put your Christmas decorations up, put your holiday decorations up. The earlier we can show out in the store and put things out and get them on the shelves, the better. But in those moments, there's unity, there's community, there's a sense of belonging and a shared experience. We're all down there at Citizens Bank Park wearing the overalls. Why? I don't know. Just wearing the overalls. It was cool. Now, a year or so on, it's like, "You really wearing the overalls, man?" We talk about this with jerseys. People go out and adorn themselves with all the latest, greatest garb. That's like their denim. That's like their neon. That's like their bootcut jeans. Timeless, traditional, steadfast versus trends. Not saying that trends cannot become something that's timeless, something that's steadfast, something that's traditional. They, however, don't necessarily run that particular course. You can generate a massive response, massive revenue, massive following, massive handing over of, I don't want to say control, but direction to a particular person, place, thing, entity when these trends come along because we feel pressured by society, right? We feel pressured by fitting in. Everyone had to have Ugg boots, right? Everyone had to have a Squishmallow. Don't I remember having a conversation with my middle one about someone going to school and getting a gift from the grandparent. The grandparent showed up and hey, here's a Squishmallow for you. And one of their friends was like, that's an Amazon Squishmallow. It's not even a real Squishmallow. Completely crushes this kid's being. And why do I say that? I say that because it gets that particular and that petty at times. And then we start backing into all the other effects. So I can't hop on this trend to keep up with the Joneses now. I feel like I'm behind the eight ball a little bit more. So I want to go ahead and I want to catch up. I want to have this, but that trend is done now. What's on to the next one? So you're chasing and you're chasing and you're chasing, and you're chasing, trying to keep up. Maybe you create something and then it fades off into oblivion and you're left there. There's constant recirculation, constant giving out of, you know, product, ideas, how we invent ourselves, how we present ourselves. And we do want to track those trends. We do want to make informed decisions. We do want to be on the side that is of a noble pursuit. It's not saying you can't enjoy things, of course you can. But in these moments where you have this strategic ability to influence, you want to stay on the relevant side. You want to stay on the focus side. You want to stay on the side that when you're gathering response and you're gathering engagement, you're hopefully not just taking it for face value. You're marketing it down the line. You're looking at it down the line. That's what people as well. Hey, I'm investing time in this because right now this thing is going really well. I can't wait for this to, turn into something really awesome. And then it goes flat, right? Our relationships times are like trends, right? Everyone says, like you get together with someone, there's a honeymoon phase. You get into your new job, it's a honeymoon phase. And then it settles in. And then it's like, okay, now we're at the meat and potatoes. Now we've gone past the fanfare. We've gone past all of the happiness. We've gone past all of the, you know, windfall overnight sales. Where are we at now? What's the quality of the product? Is it something I'm going to keep investing in? Is it something that I'm going to go back to? Has that trend passed itself? There's a maturity, there's a step in your life, in your process where you're like, hey, you know what? I can go out, I can drink, I can club, I can travel the world, I can do whatever I want. And then you plateau and you're like, all right, what do I really enjoy? What really sustains me? Who is along for that journey? What community, what people, what organization around me supporting me to further myself down that road and in turn myself to them? It was a great run. It was a lot of fun, but now we're done. Poet don't even know it today, right? So when do trends pass, right? They follow the cycle, right? It's a big recognizable cycle. There's 4 or 5 stages, right? There's like this instantaneous emergence, new idea, boom. It just comes from like these little communities, little outliers, and it starts to gain traction. Everybody had an Instapot, right? Everybody had an Instapot during COVID. Why? Oh, I can just take it, but there's been pressure cookers around since like the 20s. But it was the hip thing because everybody had to make sourdough bread. Got a famous artist out there right now talks about sourdough all the time. Sourdough been around for centuries, but it became popular again. Starts to gain a little bit of traction. Starts to gain a little bit of traction. Why? It's people like me. Haha, just kidding. There's media people, there's influencers, there's platforms, everybody amplifies and they push it all out to the mainstream. Usually, though, attached to that push in the mainstream is what? Someone else riding right along with it who's going to do what, kids? They're going to benefit from it. right? I'm sure the flower company and Procter and Gamble and LG and Samsung and Insignia, whatever, they're like, I'll make an Instapot. I'll make a K-cup machine. Absolutely. Put my name on it. Let's go. Why? Because they're going to take what they can take out of it during that trend while it rises. Eventually, step 3, your trend, your friendship, your position, it peaks. You're the top. You're the focus. You're the bee's knees. You're the cat's meow. You're the must-have item for Christmas. Looking at you, Furby, who's probably still looking at me, even though it's in a box in a cabinet underneath the sink. It's just like those things freak me out. Just freak me out. But there for a while, they were the trend. They were the thing. Everybody had to have them. Had to have a Furby. It becomes the apex of what the majority of the society or the population is focused on or in line with. What happens then? Sometimes you have a little tapering off, slow decline, fades out into existence, or there's controversy, right? Something comes up. I didn't know you were cutting backroom deals in order to get this, out to market. I didn't know that you were robbing Peter to pay Paul. I didn't know that you were taking all my personal business and sharing it all over the world with all your other friends. I thought we were confidants. People get tired of it. There's backlash, there's criticism, there's critique. There's a what the F is going on? And then at that moment, it becomes obsolete. So now you go to the discount store and you see those same $150 pressure cookers on sale for $30. The trend has come and the trend is gone. It's fast moving. It evolves, it peaks, and it falls down. And in today's day and age, when we have everything instantaneously, let's go, boom, 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 the idea of a trend is even more volatile, right? You used to have this semi-sustained arc where you could grow, evaluate, decide, continue to reinvest, or move on from a particular person, place, thing, brand, item, object. Now we're almost held accountable from the moment that it becomes relevant. Your, they could say, like the platform dynamics, the cultural fatigue, the lack of substance that exists within all of this. It comes, it goes, doesn't really have meaning into it. The trends and formulating these and cultivating these relationships, it's not just about keeping up with what's good or hot or new or inviting or exciting, right? That's step 1. And we've talked ad nauseum on the program about your personal practices and your beliefs and your disciplines because you want to recognize particular patterns. You want to anticipate the growth and the shifts and the movement that exist. You're going to want to know when to put your money on the table and when to walk away. Shout out to the gambler, right? Every trend and every encounter and every project that you undertake, particular to the type of entity and relationship that you want to form, has its shelf life, right? It has a point where how much are you going to go in over and over and over and over and continue to give with minimal return or with a lot of return, and knowing when to either re-up and keep riding that train or to get off the train, right? you come into this moment of maturity, right? Your trends, they're mirrors, like mirrors of our growth, right? Mirrors of our maturity. We chase them. We chase friends. We chase jobs. We chase events. We chase a multitude of things to do what? To fit in, to kind of explore who we are, figure out what's going on, what we like, know thyself, especially when we're younger. Think of all the things that you enjoyed when you were a teenager, that by the time that you were in your early 20s, you'd be like, you know what? That was crazy, but you know what? At least you did it. At least you went through it. At least you experienced it. One of the worst things in the world is dismissing something because you have this preconceived notion, you haven't gone down that road and tried it. And I'm not saying you can't take the empirical data from the other aspects and areas in your life and say, hey, I don't think I would enjoy this. But so many times we're extremely dismissive of adventure, opportunity, putting ourselves in positions where we're not necessarily the most comfortable just because we think that's the right answer. It might be the right answer. You may get to the same end result. You may find out that, hey, I don't like bungee jumping. I'm not saying you need to go and bungee jump. I don't want to skydive. Okay, well, you don't want to skydive. But you don't want to go for a hike. You don't want to walk up a mountain. You don't want to, walk across a bridge, whatever that is. Like these are this transitional phase of trends. Everyone's doing it, man. I should try it. I don't know. He's gonna be like that. She's gonna be like that. Company told me that they would be there for me. They've given me all these resources and assets. I have to perform and do my job. Yada yada. But as you're maturing, as these trends and these alignments you make in your life begin to mirror yourself as you grow, you get to the point where you begin to question, are things meaningful? Is this person meaningful? Is this job meaningful? Is it rewarding to me? Again, hit the Murphy button. We know there's things that have to be done, bills have to be paid. We understand this. We understand this. But to these people, to these organizations, to these trends, to these areas in which you are involving yourself, does it align with your values? Does it reward you? Does it refresh you? Does it energize you? It becomes not a trend and not a friend and not an acquaintance, but someone, something, some activity that you are intentionally doing. You're choosing it. Why are you choosing it? Well, because it's fulfilling to me and rewarding to me. And as a mirror, you hope that it's going back that way to the other person, place, thing, and entity. Because without that, then you're just taking and you're not cultivating and you're not growing. Well, why is that important? Go ask anyone in a relationship, go ask anyone at a job if all you do is take, 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 how that works. Or if all you do is give, 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 how that runs its course. Open dialogue, conversation, going through those transition stages, questioning, is it something that I would intentionally choose again? You get to this point where then you've questioned everything. You've attempted to try enough to your own level of being comfortable. And like we talked about on election day, you then selectively, because you're in control, you have authority over your decisions, engage with people, place, things, relationships, particular social trends. And you don't feel as if you're missing out. There's no FOMO. Why isn't there FOMO? Because I'm comfortable Mo. I don't have to run out to this concert. I don't have to run out to that particular amusement park. I don't have to run out to that restaurant. I need to wear this particular food. I need to have that particular music. I need to drive that particular car. You observe these behaviors in people, places, things, relationships, society. And instead of running to it, you evaluate it, you interpret it. How does it apply to me? Can I connect with it? Is it something that I want to be involved with? Someone I want to be involved with? Because it's an expression of who I am, what I want to do, where I want to go, where I want to be. Dr. Rick says he's going to need a 60-minute session after the show, and he refuses to eat liver. You see, now, I was going to bring that up a little bit. And I guess, before we get into the, the maturity part of the conversation, I'm always amazed anymore when I go onto social media, and this is a trend where you have these lists of things that you will eat and what you won't eat. Now, granted, I have preferences. I don't prefer to have mayo slathered on everything. If it is on a sandwich or incorporated into a particular item or food or whatnot, 9 times out of 10, I'll probably eat it. Is that because I've been guilted into the pressure of like, someone prepared it for you, you better eat it, you better not make them feel sad? Yeah, probably. I'm sure my psychiatrist and ever have a great time with that. Therapist Rick will sit down and go through this as well. Um, but we are so apt so quickly to just be ultra selective, ultra self trendy that in a way we cross out so many great experiences and so many uh, little endeavors, little palate pleasers. Um, I never thought as a kid I'd around and be like, man, I can't wait to have my next, plate of octopus, my next plate of escargot. But now it's like, yeah, okay, I look forward to that. Well, why? Because like challenge my palate. I want to go and try it, and I enjoy it. Am I a little weird? Yeah, probably a little weird. Liver and onions, if done correctly, like liver is really good. But hey, you refuse to eat liver, you refuse to eat liver. Like, but there are these trends that come up and establish themselves the way of food, right? Like when it was George W. It's like, I don't eat broccoli. All the kids in America are like, hey, president says he doesn't eat broccoli. Nobody eat broccoli. Yeah. Well, okay. Hit your wagon to that, man. Go for it. That's what I do. But it's funny how something like that, I don't eat liver. What are the other ones that there was a whole trend of no one wanted to get up and get up out of bed and get out of the house. Like everyone was like, "Oh man, I don't want to go back to work. Everything's gonna be remote. Everything's gonna be remote." Right? And that trend, listen, it comes and goes. Does it have its pluses? Yes. Has its minuses? Of course it does. But again, these are trends. These are things that you know I tried it. Does it mark where I'm at? Something I want to continue investing in. Does it work for me, or do I need to go this way? Doesn't mean I can't be involved with it. It just doesn't really sit with me, right? So not every trend, not every little bit. My mom used to overcook. Used to My mom used to cover the liver with bacon, and the dog. That reminds me of those bacon commercials. The bacon strips like bacon, 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 bacon. All right, sorry, man. Let's. I love those commercials. It was funny, fun commercials. I was good, yeah. But I guess if you put bacon on stuff, man, you really can't go wrong. I mean, it's sort of like the great equalizer when it comes to food. You know, uh, Kids not big fans of like collard greens and stuff like that, but put a couple chunks of bacon in there with the vinegar, and it's great. Uh, but not every trend, not every person, not every project, you know, deserves our energy and our attention. It just doesn't. They don't. It doesn't. Like we need to know a lot of times in our lives, like when we opt out, even if it's not the popular opinion. Everyone's going out tonight, man. Hey, you know what? I'd love to be there, guys, girls, but I can't. Sorry, no. Right? The importance of no, right? The importance of electing and taking that decision into your own control and saying, look, not for me, not tonight, right? Trends, they can be forced on us as like the norm and the rule of law. But instead of complying to that, maybe use it as a tool, right? Use it as a little point of reference. I'm saying experiment with it, but I'm saying you can learn a lot about an individual. You can better communicate with individuals because maybe you find a common point, a common ground in order to bounce some ideas off. Maybe it opens up doors that wouldn't necessarily be open in the past because maybe someone has come across something that they found is likened to them and their values and their experiences. So instead of dismissing it, instead of writing it off, use it as a bridge to maybe get something more accomplished. Turn down that rock and roll music. That's horrible. Stop playing those video games. Get off those apps. Like, tell me about it. I could go into my kids about playing Roblox all the time. Hey, I'll jump on. I don't know what I'm doing. Just move the character around in a couple circles and jump up and down. But then it turns out, like, hey, this is going on at school. Hey, did you hear so and so said this? I'm thinking about blah, blah, blah. So instead of coming straight out, I'm like, hey, what are you doing at school? How's your grades? What's happening? And being really obtuse, very authoritative, I found this little bridge. I'm not a big video game person. I play Monopoly on my phone. Even then, that's rough. But you start to recognize cycles, not only in society, but in people, right? And you get to see past all of the hoopla and the hype, and you're like, okay, let's keep investing in what's enduring and what's meaningful and who shows up and if I'm showing up, right? We sit there and we reflect, right? All about self-reflection. What appeals to me? Why does it appeal to me? Is it genuine? Is it curiosity? Is it just boredom? Or here's the big one. Is it validation? Oh, all right, big topic. Sorry about that. Yep. Does it give me the affirmation and the pat on the back and, the little dopamine drop that I've been missing in other parts of my life? Maybe we should call Dr. Phil, right? Maybe we need to go back to our priority practice and principles and our open bit of communication and the people that we're around and who we surround ourselves with and the projects that we're taking on and say, hey, wait a minute. Um, need to have a conversation, real open conversation. Boundaries, right? Not going to do something, not going to be around individuals, not going to participate, even in society, if it doesn't align with my values. If there's a conflict, or you just sit on your hands and not say something? No, I'm going to say something. I'm going to voice my opinion. I'm going to use my vote to go ahead and make a change. I'm going to use my maturity to bring to your attention that ipso facto, i.e., XYZ, ABC, BBD, the East Coast family, doesn't jive with me. Oh, how can you say that? You're not like everyone else. Well, I don't want to be like everyone else. I want to enjoy the moment. I want to enjoy our conversation. I want to enjoy our friendship. I want to enjoy our relationship. I want to enjoy what I'm doing at work. But if this doesn't align with me, I'm not going to be part and parcel and locked into this entire truck, this entire road. I'm not going to go down with that ship. Why? Because that's not the hill I'm going to die on. But it happens to us all the time. The social pressure, the peer pressure, the trend pressure, the society pressure. Why? Because it's good right now. Well, how do you know it's going to be good long term, Dunk? Huh. I'm going to believe in myself and have to put faith and believe in the other people, place, things, and entity that they're going to hold their end of the bargain up. That this isn't just going to be a trend. That this isn't just going to be fanfare. That's not just going to be lip service. That it's not just going to be honeymoon, pillow talk. When I'm feeling like crap and the chips are down, they're going to be there. When I'm struggling and I don't have the particular answers at work, that I'm going to be afforded the resources and the time in order to figure it out. When I don't have the $20, $30 to go out and enjoy some quality time with, my friends or relax or have entertainment, they're still going to be like, come on. Maybe don't take advantage of that. But as much as you pick them up and want to be picked up, you need to do the same. You can use these opportunities, these trends, these movements as a trampoline, springboard, shot put, whatever you want to call it, to maybe push like your own vision, your own goals. Is it hard sometimes when there's the bureaucracy and the red tape? Of course it is, man. It sucks. A lot of times the most common sense answer is the right answer. But in order to get from point A to point B, you've got to go through so many variables. It's nauseating, but it shows leadership, shows creativity, shows that you have a wantonness to develop and move forward. So what then would you say to yourself are the trends that you over time, maybe people, maybe opportunities, maybe reflection, maybe certain practices, etc., have like genuinely helped you become a better version of yourself? Like, and there's ones there that are going to distract you, and that's fine. But if the distraction and the hoopla and the fanfare is more of what you're aligning and finding yourself in, then you're taken away from what's really happening over here, what's not being built, what's not being cultivated. And then people wonder and they wake up one day, why does my job like me? Why does my boss like me? Why are my friends and why is my partner pissed off at me? I mean, if you're not evolving, you're not growing, you're not understanding, and you're not recognizing, that becomes an issue. But I mean, I always go out, I always buy things, I always make sure we do this and make sure we do that. Yeah, that's a part of it. But past the surface level engagement style, what's deeper, right? But what else have you cultivated? Hey, what's going on? Share something with me. What's up? Now, we all have different levels of relationships, and obviously, our work relationships are a lot different than the acquaintances that we meet as we travel about the world, in so much as how we have to interact with said individuals. We have family relationships, we have personal relationships, relationships with ourselves. But you do need to spot these things out. You do need to identify them. Consistency, growth, behavior change. It's not a once off sort of thing, right? You're looking for this repetitive engagement, this repetitive growth, this repetitive investment, not just in one particular area, but across a multitude. I'm getting better physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. My relationships benefit from that. I'm not as footloose and fancy free as I used to be. Why? Eh, kind of grew up a little bit. Beyond that, not as not as rewarding as it used to be. Right? Talked about before. Right? It's the distraction is it costs a little bit more. Costs a little more across the board, mentally, relationship wise, financially. Not a good place to be. If it's a distraction, it could be popular. If it's popular, it could be a distraction. Many times, distractions are purposely put in our lives, and we purposely seek out these distractions because we really don't want to face the real trend that's going on. The real trend is that I'm not ready to talk about something. I'm not ready to admit that I need help with something. I'm not ready to say, I can't do this. comes, it goes, it fades, it's fast. Where's the substance? Where's the substance? Is it meaningful? Does it sustain itself? Is there substance? Can I really let it be part of me? I want to be part of that trend. I want to be part of that trend where it says, hey, just what, I'm going to have a good time. And I'm enjoying myself. I'm enjoying the people around me. And enjoy what I do. But at the same time, I'm going to push myself and challenge myself. And it's going to be uncomfortable. Why? Because anything that's worth its while is uncomfortable. Any sort of change is uncomfortable. Usually, negative change is super comfortable, super duper comfortable. You get out and you tie one on, you get out and you're doing whatever. And after that high is over, you wake up and you're like, holy crap. Wow, that was the trend. Everybody's doing it. Let's go. You start surrounding yourself by people that are likened to a particular behavior, particular uh, project. Everybody's on board. It's all great. And we talk about this collective idea previous on the program. You get a lot of people in the same room. You get a lot of people in the same organization, and everyone's on board. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. You could be driving the bus or the boat like right off the waterfall, right off the cliff. Good. Good while it lasted. Instead of what? Like going up the hill, going upstream, cutting through the forest, getting rid of the dead weight, honing your skills, sharpening the relationships around you. Trends, people, places, things, organizations should do what? Expand your network, expand your skills, grow. They're usually the ones that you will get value from every single time that you go back. Paradox in that is that many times the value you get is the question that's thrown right back in your face, the evaluation question. I came here for help. I came here for the adulation. I came here for the affirmation, and it's making me question all of this. Ha, it's working. Keep going there. Keep going there. It's working. Not saying you can't get the little attaboys and pats on the back. That's good. Need that. But if I just gave you a cookie every single time then you came to see me, and I never gave you the consequences of constantly getting the cookie, am I really doing you a favor? No, not doing you a favor. Now you're part of that transactional relationship we talked about. Follow the trends that are meaningful to you. Invest in the friends and the trends that are meaningful to you. Make those right choices. Reevaluate. Move on. Are you doing it to escape yourself? Are you involved in it to escape your reality? Or are you doing it because it's helping you better express and better become who it is that you are? One quick thing that I want to touch on real quick before we wrap this up because it broke earlier today. Marshawn Nealon, player for the Dallas Cowboys, young man, 24 years old. Preliminary reports, it looks as if he took his own life. I know it's a subject none of us like to talk about, but we do like to offer the resources specifically on this program, specifically across all of the platform. 988, Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Call, text 988, free, confidential, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you're having suicidal thoughts, tendencies, behaviors, emotional distress, mental health, substance use, crisis. If you have a concern for someone else that you want to pass this along, but you're too hesitant to maybe be that close cog in the whole machine, please reach out, check in on those people, check in on your loved ones, check in on those who you may know as an acquaintance and you see that they may be struggling. I would rather be wrong and embarrassed by calling someone out who may or may not need help than not take the step and lose that said individual to something that is, for the most part, preventable. We all have our choices. Um, Trained counselors, people with doctorates, people with certifications way beyond what, you know, the normal schlub like me has to offer. But 24 years old, critical point in his life. He lost his mother just prior to the NFL draft. Just had a great play, uh, probably his best play, best moment in the league on Monday. Just you never know what people are going through, and you never know what this all can lead to. So take a moment. If you need help, we're all there for you. 988. It's the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. You can call, you can text. It's free, it's confidential. No one's going to judge you. Be there for everyone. I will be back with you guys next week on Tuesday. Please enjoy the remainder of this beautiful fall weekend. Rick, I'm not going to force you to eat liver, but if you come by, maybe we'll just get some and we'll cook it up with some onions and get some mashed potatoes and we'll see what we can do. All right, guys, have a good one. I will talk to you later on.